Are you tired with being bogged down by all the time-consuming tasks in your business? Do you wish you could reclaim those precious hours, right? And reinvest them into things that truly matter. So today, I'm going to share with you several time-saving business automation secrets that you probably never heard of. Let's jump into it. All right, so let's just talk about it. Business efficiency, right? You want to make sure that your business is efficient. Why? Because it saves time, it saves money, it makes everyone happy, it puts more dollars in the bank, right? When the business is ran efficiently. And I ran across that situation myself, in which I myself or I will hire team members to do a lot of busy work and then realize, why are we doing this? In fact, there could be a more efficient way of doing the said task, to the point it will save you time, save me time, save us money, make more money. And that's the mindset you want to have. All right, so let's talk about one of the major inefficiencies I see a lot of business owners do, right? They do a ton of data entry and admin. Now I get it. Of course, you might be thinking, well, yeah, just hire a VA for that, or a secretary or administrative assistant. Well, oftentimes the CEO, right, the founder, they typically do data entry and administrative tasks that relate to reporting, because it's important. Being that you're the pilot of this plane, you got to have your dashboard, you got to have your KPIs, you got to know, let's say, some marketing metrics, your cost per lead, your cost per acquisition, your cost per book call, well, that's what you do, or your cost per acquisition, how much it costs to actually acquire a customer or a client. You might have to look at other departments, not just marketing, but sales, your closing rate, your show-up rate, how much cash did the sales rep typically brings in a month. You might want to look at other metrics such as customer support. What is the happiness score? How satisfied are our clients? How long does it take for our customer support person to respond to an email? Their average response time should be 4 hours or less. So there's many different data points that you want to see on your dashboard. And what most CEOs do, they tabulate it manually. They calculate it manually. They data entry all this stuff manually, to the point it's consuming an hour to 2 hours a day or a week or what have you, just to tabulate the numbers. Because they also have to spend more time having to make sense of the numbers, right? Just like you're flying that plane, once you see your altitude and you see your speed and all these other factors, the wind speed and all that stuff, it determines what direction you should take, especially if you consider your destination. It's the same thing with these dashboards. So one thing you need to do is you have to make sure you automate this process. Now, for one, the first thing you want to do to automate it, you want to see, is there any piece of technology in which it can automatically spit out the KPIs that I need that's specific to my company, custom fit, tailored? If not, then you can build it out your own. And that's what I've done. What I have is a Google Sheet dashboard. Yes, Google Sheet, not Excel, Google Sheets, in which the data feeds into it and it spits out exactly what I'm looking for. So let's take sales, for instance. What we do to automate things is we have a form, an online form, in which there's many different online forms out there. There's a Typeform, there's Google Forms, there's Job Forms, many different type of online forms out there, in which I have my sales reps key in their sales calls, whether it was a won, a closed loss, a no answer, how much cash they collected, was there a payment plan in place. They key in all the information into that form as a script. They use it as a script. And then once they hit the submit button, that data then gets transferred over to the Google Sheet. So the Google Sheet will read, okay, this particular salesperson had 10 calls out of 10 calls that he has scheduled for the day. 7 of those calls picked up the phone and said hello. So that means that's a 70% show up rate. Out of the 7 who picked up the phone and said hello, 2 of them became customers. So that's whatever 2 divided by 7 is. That's the show up rate for, I mean, that's the closing rate for that. And then out of those 2, 1 paid upfront, everything, another one had a payment plan. Okay, so the revenue to cash ratio is 50% for that. So all that is automatically tabulated as a result of me hiring a freelancer to create those formulas on my behalf. So I'm not a whiz with Google Sheets, I'm not a whiz with Excel, but what I am good at is being able to find the right freelancer. Let's say if you go to Fiverr.com or Upwork.com to find talent, find cost-effective, affordable freelancers to build out the automations that you want. So that's what I did. So I had a form, have the sales rep complete the form, the data feeds into the Excel spreadsheet, and then I just hired a Freelancer or Fiverr and just share with them, this is what I want you to do. I want you to create another tab on a spreadsheet, provides the report. I want to know what their closing rate will be, their show-up rate will be, the total cash collected, all these metrics. And I want you to show me not just on a daily basis, but a weekly basis, a monthly basis, and a quarterly basis. Can you do that? Sure, give me some time to build it out. And so once the freelancer built it out, we connect back and forth, we test it out and make sure it works, and then bam, that's it. So anytime I need to see a particular metric, all I have to do is go to that tab that the freelancer or Fiverr built out for me, and then I can see the KPIs, read it in a week. So that saves me a ton of time, especially a ton of money. Why? Not just my man hours of actually creating this report, but also I didn't have to hire a team member to tabulate this data manually. And that's what many business owners do. Either they do it themselves and say, oh man, this is taking too long. Let me go ahead and delegate this to administrative assistants. No. You're skipping a step. Before delegation, you always want to investigate automation. First and foremost, see if it could be automated, the task, before delegating it. Now, if you tried your best to do ample amount of research to see if you can automate this process, and if you couldn't, no worries. Then find a VA who's cost effective to tabulate that for you manually. That's just one key thing that I can share with you that I've done in my business to help save a ton of time, is automating the administrative data entry stuff that relates to KPIs and reporting, because that is extremely important. All right, now let's talk about another department. Let's talk about customer or client relation management. Some people call it customer service, customer support. Basically handling clients, right? One of the software that I use now, I didn't build this out, all right, so I can't take credit for it. But one of the software that I use to help provide me with the KPIs for managing my customer support team is Help Scout. There's many others out there. You can use Zendesk, but I like to use Help Scout because as long as my team member who uses Help Scout uses it for emails, not email marketing, but corresponding with clients, you know, because customers at times have questions, and so they send emails, or we get new leads who ask questions and so forth, who reach out to us about our products and services. That's what my customer support team does. And they use Help Scout, answer and reply to those questions for several different reasons. Number one, from my team's benefit, from their perspective, they can create what are called workflows, okay? It's not as simple as Google, what's it called? Gmail, which they do have like templates that you can input there. So yes, Help Scout does have that for the workflows, that, hey, if you happen to want to send a templated email, easy peasy, you can set that up. But what they also do is they create what's called workflows, what are automations, such as anytime you receive an email that has these particular characteristics, meaning from this particular sender, put it to spam. Delete it immediately, right? Put it to spam, delete this thing, leave it as closed, unread. I don't need to read it, just do it. It will automate it. Or anytime you receive an email from this particular email address, let's say it might be a partner of yours or a vendor of yours, automatically filter this and put it into this particular folder called blank. So if I have a partner, John Doe, which helps me perform a service or whatever, let's say they take over the operations for something that I do. Okay, anytime you receive this email, drop it to this folder. So you might say, well, Gmail does the same thing. Help Scout is a little bit more robust. All right, here's the reason why you're paying for it. At the time it's recorded, I think it's 25 bucks a month, but it's well worth it. It just helps your customer support team to be able to keep things organized for one, as well as automated for two. And it has many additional workflows, which I'm not going to bog you down with. You can just check out the resource at your own time. But the other thing I want to share with Help Scout from a managerial owner perspective that benefits me, going back to that dashboard KPI scenario, it also shares the customer support team's performance in regard to their happiness score and their response time. So let's talk about the first one, happiness score. So when my support team is emailing clients and vendors and leads back and forth to help them and so forth, there's a tracking, but if they use Help Scout, so they cannot use Gmail for this, they have to use Help Scout. There's tracking in Help Scout that actually shows, there's a survey at the bottom, like how was your experience? And it's so simple. There's a sad face, a neutral face, and a happy face. So of course, we want that lead, that prospect, that vendor, or whoever else is corresponding with us via email to click on that happy face, okay? And if they click on the sad face, there's another pop-up in which it can share why they're sad, okay? Now, all that data gets tracked and it gets fed into a Help Scout dashboard, in which for KPIs that I mentioned, we could take a look at and see what the happiness score is on average for time period, for the last week, last month, last quarter, what have you. So it's extremely important to have Help Scout to track the quality of your support team's correspondence to your external team, your clients, your leads, your vendors, your prospects, and so forth. And if it's any score below 80, below a 90 even, really actually below a 90, then we need to have a talk with the support team to see what's not going right with this score. It needs to be 90% or better. And the second metric that we check in Help Scout is the response time, because we want to make sure that we respond to our leads, our clients, our vendors, or prospects in an adequate fashion, right? In a timely manner. And typically your KPI for that is 4 hours or less, because if it's taking more than 4 hours to resolve a ticket, right? That's what Help Scout considers all this correspondence is a ticket, meaning you resolve it by closing it. I'm not going to bog you down with all the technical stuff. You can just check out Help Scout directly. But basically, they can track to see if the support team is replying and resolving all these correspondence in 4 hours or less. And when they do, it's all get tabulated to Help Scout. I'll look at the dashboard and I can see their average response time. So I did that with one of my team members. Her average response time was about 16 hours, which is way outside the KPI. We wanted to be 4 hours. So what did we do? I said, okay, it's time for us to do a performance improvement plan, to investigate this one thing that you do, which is responding to our leads and so forth through Help Scout. Why isn't it being met? Came to find out, well, when I'm working with freelancers and we have projects that are open-ended, I don't close the ticket out until we're done. Oh, okay, got it. You're not supposed to use Help Scout primarily for keeping projects open in this format in Help Scout. Instead, you're supposed to use our next platform, which I get into next. Trello is a project management tool. So there's many tools out there. There's Monday.com I use, which I recommend too, is great. There's Asana, I've used that before, that's great. There's many other project management tools, but my personal favorite is Trello. Why? Because it's free. It's free for a while. I mean, I currently pay because we have a lot of automation set up Trello, so it's not free anymore. So that's how they get you. When you want something more robust, then you got to pay for it, but it is great. And we use it for client management, to manage our clients. We use it for project management as well. We use it for certain automations. It's amazing. And you want to use this for managing your projects and your teams. And this is what we do with our team. And when we meet daily for a huddle, we have basic columns like to do, doing, done. What are you going to do? What are you working on right now? That's the doing. And what have you completed? Let's take a look. Very simple. It's just a Kanban board. Shout out to all my lean methodology students out there and practitioners out there, but that's all it is. And we use Trello to help keep track of our tasks, our projects, and our clients, and so that everyone knows where everything is at, and it's very great to use. Another technology that we have in our company, after the point of sale, we have a company called Spiffy, in which it syncs up with Stripe, which is our merchant account, and it also syncs up with our other system through Zapier, which I highly recommend. Another tool to use is Zapier. It's like that duct tape that brings all these different websites and companies together so they can all speak to each other. So pretty much, if a salesperson of mine makes a sale, the salesperson is not manually creating an account for the client, or manually giving them access to our digital products, or manually adding them to a Trello board so they can be managed for client management purposes, like I just mentioned. No, with Spiffy and with Zapier together, working side by side, after the point of purchase, the client automatically gets their account set up and created. They automatically get an email getting access to their login. They automatically receive a receipt. They're automatically added to the Trello board so that our account manager can start managing that client. And all this stuff happens when the sales automatically made. And if the client's on a payment plan, they're late, they get an automatic email through our CRM called Keep. All that stuff created based upon Spiffy. So when it comes to payments and product delivery, and it comes to payment plans and texting and emailing them automatically if they're delayed, if their credit card expired, all that stuff is automated as a result of Spiffy. So I highly recommend it. It's been a game changer for my company. Now, I'm not sure how you do your sales process, or speak with your clients, but we have another software called Acuity. There's many other ones out there like Schedule Once, there's Calendly, there's many other things that are great. They all have their special attributes or differences, but we like Acuity scheduling, and we use Acuity scheduling. It gets synced up with Facebook. It also gets synced up with all of our other CRMs that we use. But What I like about it the most is that we were able to connect it to our phone system called Just Call. And Just Call is a great tool that we use to text and phone call our clients, and also reports KPIs, dashboards like the average call time and all that good stuff. So that's a good system to use as well to see the data. But that's a tangent. The point I'm making is this: when you sync up Just Call your phone system with Acuity scheduling, 30 minutes prior to the appointment, the prospect or the client get an automatic text from us. Like, hey, we look forward to speaking with you. I know you schedule a call Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Do this to be prepared, be in a quiet area, blah, blah, blah. We were happy to work with you, blah, 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 blah. Puts the person's name in there, the date and time of their appointment, the nature of the appointment, because we have different appointment types. All that stuff is automated as a result of just using those two systems in tandem in addition to Zapier. So the benefits are obvious for using automations, right? The benefits are you can, number one, save time, because not just your time, but the time that you will have to spend to hire someone else to do this. And two, it saves you and makes you a lot more money. So that way your team can focus on the bigger ticket things. Like, let's take sales, for instance. Imagine that a salesperson has to spend 15 minutes doing all this administrative stuff after the sale. They have to disposition the call. They have to jot down manually, where they have to go to say if it was a won, it was a loss. If they didn't use that process that I mentioned earlier, they didn't have to create an account for that person. They have to send them an email for the receipt, their username, their password, the Trello card, or notify the account management team to do that. And if they have to take 15 minutes doing all this administrative tasks, and let's say they had 4 sales for that day, that's an hour's time. An hour's time in which they spent doing administrative things, in which they could have better used that time to do another sales call and bring in another $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $7,000 back into the company. So you always want to evaluate that. How can I use automations to save time on the things that are not necessarily income producing? Now that we've unleashed several time-saving automations that you can implement to your business, it's now time to talk about real estate investing. Because what you want to do is you want to take your massive income, that's the profits from your business, and funnel it to passive income, and that's through real estate investing. So what I want you to do is just watch this video of how you can obtain an additional $20,000 in passive income. Take a look. As always, guys, this is to your success. Continue to earn passively and live passionately. Peace.